This presentation, read by Austin Swift and Maddie Sullivan, will cover chapters 10 and 11 from the International Business Textbook by Geringer. So what are you to take away from this unique learning experience? Great question. Our objectives for you from chapter 10 are to understand international strategy, know the steps in the global strategic planning process, name key strategies, kinds of strategic plans, and methods of planning. So let's start with the basics. What's international strategy? International strategy is the way firms make choices about acquiring and using scarce resources in order to achieve their international objectives. The goal is to obtain competitive advantage, which is the ability of a company to have higher rates of profits than its competitors. In order to do this, you need the skills or abilities required in order to adequately complete a task called competencies. These need to create value for customers, be rare and difficult to imitate, and be organized in a way that allows the company to fully capture the value of them. Let's sing our way happily, minus the singing part of course, through the global strategic planning process, which is a 7-step process by which an organization determines where it's going, how it's getting there, and how it will assess how well it's doing. This is one of the most commonly used management tools among global executives. The first step is to analyze domestic, international, and foreign environments. Using environmental scanning, we must identify current and future forces in all environments, but then also develop and implement appropriate responses to these forces. Steps 2 and 3 are similar. First, we analyze what forces we control as a firm, meaning the internal ones. An important term in this step is the value chain analysis. Value chain analysis is a way to analyze where and to what extent value is being added to the final product. After we do this, we need to recognize knowledge as an internal resource and manage this effectively by encouraging shared ideas among the company and then also from suppliers and customers. Defining where the company is and where it's going is important so the behavior in the company can stay on track. The mission statement is a broad statement that defines the organization's purpose. The vision statement is a description of the company's future if the strategy is implemented successfully. And the value statement is a specific description of the fundamental values, beliefs, and priorities of the company. Next, the organization needs to set corporate objectives that will guide the firm's course of action and then quantify these so that they are easily measurable and reachable. Goals that aren't quantifiable are like trying to get strong and have muscles without planning on going to the gym or eating healthy. The last step to the process is to formulate the appropriate strategies. There are several strategies, but one example is home replication strategy. This is when companies centralize product development in their home country and then transfer the improvements and successful product to the foreign market. There are 2 kinds of strategic plans, and they are fairly straightforward. Time horizon is dependent on the age of the firm and stability of the market. Level in the organization is when each organizational level has a plan. There are 3 methods of planning. Top-down planning is the planning process that begins at the highest level in the organization and continues downward. A disadvantage of this is that it restricts lower-level initiative. Bottom-up planning starts at the bottom and works its way up. One disadvantage to this is that there is no guarantee that all employees will have the same goals and ideas as the goals and ideas of the headquarters. Iterative planning combines the 2 methods. Now let's move on to Chapter 11.
Guess what comes after Chapter 10? You guessed it, Chapter 11. The title of Chapter 11 is Organizational Design and Control. In this chapter, we will discuss 3 major objectives. The first is to explain why the design of an organizational structure is important to the international company. The second is to discuss the various organizational forms available for structuring an international company. And the third is to show how God fits into this process. It is crucial to understand organizational structure. Companies are constantly changing their strategies, and if a company does not change its organization along with its strategy, it will be unable to adapt. Understanding how a company is structured can change one's whole outlook on a company. It can be why a company is failing or why it is so profitable. If one fails to understand how a company is organized, one cannot truly understand a company. In order to truly understand how different companies are organized, it is important to look at different models that some companies use to organize their company. These next couple of slides will show examples of how different companies are organized. I will also discuss some of the positives and negatives of each one of these strategies. Ford, IBM, Walmart, these are some of the world's largest companies, and they all use an international division. In this type of organization, different geographic regions each get their own division. However, as overseas operations increase, in most cases, many times the international division is scrapped. The next organizational strategy is global corporate form product. In this present-day global form, product divisions are responsible for the worldwide operations, such as marketing and production of products under their control. While in many cases this is a very effective model, its downside is that it creates a duplication of area experts. The next strategy is another global corporate form, but this form focuses on the geographic region instead of the product. This form appears to be popular with companies that manufacture products with a rather low or at least stable tech content that requires strong marketing. It is also favored with firms with very diverse products. The problem this strategy has is that it tends to create a duplication of product and functional experts. If your company wants to be unique and use a form that hardly any other company uses, go for the global corporate form of function. Very few firms use this strategy. The reason it is used so rarely is because they believe that the worldwide functional expertise is more significant than the product itself. The next form is not a different type of global corporate form, but is a new entity itself. It's a hybrid form. Hybrid forms are the result of a regionally organized company having introduced a new and different product line that management believes can be handled by a worldwide product division. After corporate management becomes familiar with the operation, it may be regionalized. This mixed structure may also result from the firm selling to a sizable, homogeneous class of customers. The important thing to remember about hybrid organization is that the structure is organized by more than one dimension at the top level. The final type of organization is regional product matrix. Matrix organization is an organizational structure composed of one or more superimposed organizational structures in an attempt to mesh product, regional, functional, and other expertise. Although at one time it seemed that the matrix organizational form would enable firms to have an advantage of the product, regional, and functional forms. Unfortunately, the major disadvantage has kept most companies from adopting it. The major problem is that the matrix requires that 2 or 3 managers must agree on a decision. I would like to end this presentation with this. If Jesus was a manager, what type of organizational structure would he use? I would argue that he used a type of organizational structure that we haven't talked about yet, and that is horizontal form. Horizontal form puts more decision-making responsibilities in the hands of middle managers and other skilled professionals. In the real world, that's Jesus putting more responsibility in our hands.